Welcome back, and as always, bear down. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It's been kind of a slower part of the off season, especially for this channel. So I appreciate you guys that tune in. I think I might chop up some of this Free Talk Tuesday into smaller segments for those that don't like to watch the longer stuff. Yes, Free Talk Tuesday coming at you on a Monday. I realized I had some important things to do on Tuesday. If you can see my list, this is. I know this isn't impactful for most of you guys, and it's just fun for the bear dads out there. Bear dads, bear down. I've got the water park we got to go to, hide and seek, board games, swings, car races, fashion show, restaurant, hide the dinos, and cafe. We got a lot of things to do. So I had my notes for my Free Talk Tuesday when I came in after I got the girls down. Here was a new sheet on my notes with all the things that apparently my girls want to do tomorrow. So Free Talk Tuesday on a Monday. I want to go over a lot of things. A lot of things are being talked about in other places, so I'm not going to hit those too hard. One of the biggest things, Colin Johnson. I hit it a little bit on my grades from the Hall of Fame game. Obviously, that's huge, impactful stuff. 6'6". Talked about him at the end of last year, the desire for him to eventuate, mostly because we needed a high point X receiver. He feels that, very athletic at his 6'6" frame. So I love that he had the game he did. And how do you not have him on the roster after that? Basically locked up a spot, right? Almost guaranteed. Has to lock up a spot. A lot of spots now look very different as we go through the roster. I am going to pull out the entire roster, go over overreactions, as well as kind of where they stand right now and where we stand as a team. Everyone's very concerned about the offensive line. As you can see, I'm going to go over Justin Fields and Caleb Williams today. That's kind of the headline of my Free Talk Tuesday that I want to go over this week. Kind of the main thing. But there's a lot of things to go over. And I do want to go over the roster. So we're going to go over the roster. I do want to hit one thing right off the bat because it's overreaction by everybody this time of year. A lot of people sat out practice yesterday. And as you know, there's no practice today. So this is part of the reason that I want to do Free Talk Tuesday today. Because there's no practice, perfect time. And then Hard Knock starts tomorrow. And I want to be all in on that. And blah, blah, blah. Lots of reasons. But we're doing Free Talk Tuesday on a Monday today. A lot of players sat out practice with injury. We'll call it injury. So you just had a game, a preseason game. You got one light practice. Then you got a padded practice. And then a day off. It's not that uncommon in preseason not to overstress some of these guys. So if you have the lightest conditions, if you have the lightest things that might be considered an injury, they're going to be sitting yesterday. Today's off. Tomorrow's injury report will be a more accurate representation of those players that are injured. So it's easy for us to panic. It's easy for us to freak out. It's easy for us to overreact in the off season. Right now is not the time to do that. There's more positive than negative that came out, and I'm going to go over that in the next segment. For this first segment, we're going to transition. Okay, we're going to put that other stuff behind us just for a minute. We'll get into the roster. We'll go over all that stuff. It's impactful. It's big. We want to go over it. Part of the biggest thing we do on this channel. I will hit it. I want to go over this. This is the big buzz on Twitter. This is the big buzz that you're starting to see. And I literally had over a handful of direct messages on Twitter with people saying, you were right. We should have done the trade down. The trade down's the way we should have gone. Look at our offensive line. We're in shambles. If we would have done the trade down, we could have got Jaden Daniels, or we could have kept Justin Fields. The two different avenues that people were taking. I'm so happy I was wrong. I'm going to say it right off the bat. I was wrong. The trade down was the wrong way to go because this rare generational quarterback has proven to me that he's worth that trade down not happening. There's people saying 2 or 3 players you can't compare one quarterback to 2 or 3 impactful players. That's not true. Look at Pat Mahomes. I've shown it on my channel over and over again. Now, if you go off of just last year's season alone, there's several things that people point out, well, he didn't have the best, it was a team and blah, blah, blah. No, the team carried through enough to get to the playoffs. The number one most important aspect for a quarterback is accuracy. How they handle things in the pressure, fourth quarter, third and fourth down, all those things kind of combine. But those are the key aspects to what makes a great quarterback. And as I've shown my statistics on accuracy, which is adjusted completion percentage, and I often show that to show that Jordan Love was the 33rd most accurate, so obviously horrible. And people say, well, Pat Mahomes was barely top 10. Go to the playoffs. They squeaked into the playoffs. They had a 10-7 record, and then in the playoffs, he had an 83% adjusted completion percentage, which is why the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. He was accurate. He ramped up and he hit it when it mattered. So one Pat Mahomes is worth more than 3 or 4 other players, in my opinion. And I think most people would generally say that too. The most important position on the field is your quarterback. Well, we showed extensively on this channel that Justin Fields was an ascending player who was improving every year. I'm going to throw this out there, go through it really quickly. I reposted it on Twitter. This is the video I made that was probably the biggest video I've ever had, to be honest. And it was during the Civil War. But here's all the stuff on Justin Fields. As you see from college at the bottom, he was a great quarterback, 56-4, but he was developmental. A lot of mechanical issues that need to be done. But medium passing, long passing, very solid. Even in the league, in the National Football League. Last year, he was one of the best deep ball passers in the league. One of the most accurate as well. There's Justin there. As you look at his box stats, nothing gaudy, nothing crazy. 12 games, 15, 12 and a half games. Completion percentage improved every year. Yards, touchdown, interceptions. Then we move forward and we look at his rushing. Okay, this is all the stuff we've already seen on Justin Fields. Then you look at, okay, we're going to excuse those two. I'm literally taking these slides straight from that video that I did before that was one of the biggest videos. Because it was what shed light to everybody that Justin Fields was an ascending quarterback, that he was improving every single year. You look at his last from Atlanta on, from Washington on after the 4-game lose streak, even against Denver, it was, solid. But you look at all those games and win, and a couple of them shouldn't have lost. That game against Detroit, we shouldn't have lost. Against Denver, we shouldn't have lost. Against Cleveland, we shouldn't have lost. The only one that we should have lost was against Green Bay, and that wasn't really the defense's fault. That was the offense's fault. Luke Getsy, maybe 7. I don't know. Anyways, excuse. Ended up being a 7-10 team. Is what it is. Can't go back. A lot of blessings came from it. Rome Odunze being the biggest one. But 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions was probably more realistic because of that Cleveland game. Whatever, excuse, blah, blah, blah. Then we look at the advanced passing, the adjusted completion percentage that I've talked about over and over again. 2021, ugly. That's bad. 66.9 is not good. 2022, 71.7. That's better. 2023, 74.4. Average. He became an average quarterback. His poor passing was down. His adjusted completion percentage was up. If you're going off the metrics that matter for a quarterback, Justin Fields was right in the middle of the pack, between 10th and 15th best quarterback in the league, according to his poor passer rating and his adjusted completion percentage, probably closer to 15. Okay, so he was ascending, though. That was the point. So go back to our headline grabber here. He's improving every year and ascending quarterback. The argument to be had to keep him and to trade back, to get the Hall, to get Zach Frazier, to get Rome Odunze plus Zach Frazier and another defensive end and another guard, Zach Zinter, and all the stuff that we proposed way back when. You got Justin Fields doing all this stuff. And then you see in the middle of the field, his NFL pass rating improved every year. And every statistic, he was getting better. Well, accuracy of passing, behind the line of scrimmage, what BLOS means, short, 0 to 9 yards, medium, and long. He was improving. He was a good quarterback, and wish him the best. Then we take a look. Oh, and then there was this. The line was ranked 25th, 29th, 26th. The dirty pocket, he was one of the best in the league. One of the very best in the league in a dirty pocket. So there's our boy Justin Fields. Then we get Caleb Williams. The trade happens. We get Caleb Williams. Same thing. Great quarterback. A few concerns people have. I think Draft Buzz really didn't do him a service, didn't do him credit. You look at these grades, and they don't really grade out as cleanly as they should. His overall rating is higher than anybody else. Anybody in a long time, 93.5. They have his release speed low. I think that's because time to throw. I don't think that was fair or accurate. It takes a lot of looking into Caleb to see past the smoke and mirrors that people are complaining about. Some of the biggest things that we found out after we traded Justin Fields was the fourth quarter. He had a plus 33 rating his last year at USC. 45 points off 15 touchdowns, 1 field goal, 5 punts, 3 turnovers on downs, and 1 fumble. Elite. Very, very elite. And then you look at third and fourth down while at USC, 199 passing attempts, 0 touchdowns, 16 to 0 touchdown to interception ratio on third and fourth down. And in the red zone the entire 2 years, 46 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio. So where it matters most, third and fourth down, in the red zone with the game on the line, fourth quarter, he was elite. So we take back here, both can be true. So you see it on Twitter right now and you see all the reactions of everybody. There's so many people on there saying we should have kept Justin Fields because he's balling out in Pittsburgh. Well, we called it. We said that's what was going to happen. So would I take my take back? I want Caleb. I'm saying it right now. I want Caleb. I love Justin Fields. I think he's a great kid. A great role model. Hard work ethic. I love what he's doing in Pittsburgh. I'm glad he's stealing that starter job. It sounds like from multiple reports, how do they give it back to Russell Wilson now? Yeah, it stinks that Russell Wilson had the injury, but he's on the decline in his career. He has been for several years, while Justin Fields is on the incline. And if you didn't listen to Mike Tomlin, he talked about how he just wants to let Justin Fields be Justin Fields. Don't take away his natural ability. Let him go out and be the quarterback that he is. Makes sense, right? Why didn't Luke Getsy do it? We don't know. Doesn't matter. It's in the past. The records are set the way they were. We were a 3-14 team. We were a 7-10 team. He's gone. Would I take it back with what you're seeing with Justin Fields? If we had a better quarterback, if we had Art here, if we had Shane Waldron here instead of Luke Getsy, would it have made a difference? Probably. It probably would have. Justin would have done better. What I've always said all along, though, is he's an improving quarterback and an ascending quarterback. And I even said top 10, probably top 5 is what he could be. Caleb Williams has already shown through everything we've learned about with his leadership, with what he's done here already, he has every bit of potential to be Pat Mahomes-esque. And when you're saying right off the bat, this kid could be top 10 his first year, top 3, top 2, top 1 quarterback in the league within the first couple of years, within this rookie contract, that's worth taking the rare generational quarterback that you can't pass up on. So while Twitter is going a little bit crazy, Twitter is honestly going nuts over this right now. You've got the haters and you've got the lovers of Fields all coming back out. There should be most of the fans, and I think there are, in that happy medium of we're really happy to see Justin Fields doing well in Pittsburgh and earning that starting job. And hey, it's great for the Bears because we get the 4th pick if he plays 51% of the snaps. 4th round pick instead of a 6th round pick. Both those are chump change. I get that. He was worth more. Multiple reports said he was worth a day 2 pick, and other teams had offered a day 2 pick. But Ryan Poles elected to consult with Justin Fields and let him go where he wanted to go, and foregoing the 2nd day pick, that means round 2 or 3, and there were a couple of reports that had the Bears getting a 3rd rounder with a conditional 2nd if he performed a certain way. So we could add another 2nd round pick. It shows the class and the character of Ryan Poles and the Bears to be able to allow him to go where he wanted to go. And I think if the Bears would have handled it earlier, if they would have traded him earlier in the offseason before the Steelers had went and got Russell Wilson, they probably could have got a 3rd from Pittsburgh. But they didn't. So it is where it is. So then you get the fake narratives. He's only worth a 6th. He's a punt returner. He's a kick returner. All those things just fuel someone like Justin Fields. So both these things can be true. Both Justin Fields can be an ascending quarterback that can be a top 10, top 5 quarterback in the league, and we can have a rare generational prospect that we can't pass up on. And that's exactly what happened. So my focus today on Real Talk Tuesday was exactly that. I think the Bears did exactly what they needed to do. Yeah, they did it. They did it a little late. Ryan Poles took his time, handled it improperly with the timing of getting rid of Justin Fields. Maybe he needed to see a little bit more out of Caleb before he could make that decision, though. So in him doing due diligence, we lost a 2nd or 3rd rounder, and instead we're going to get a 4th rounder. There's worse things that could have happened. We've had draft picks that have been busts in the second, third round. So you don't know if that second rounder would have been a bust, and maybe this fourth rounder is going to be like a Torrey Taylor or an Austin Booker. We don't know. So I'm very happy with the way things turned out. That's the point of all that. Yes, Justin Fields is improving every year, and yes, Caleb Williams is a rare generational quarterback. We got the quarterback we were supposed to get. He's on a rookie contract. Let's not forget that. Now, I proposed last year Justin Fields should get a contract similar to Jordan Love's. Before Jordan Love's massive contract, the realistic one for what Jordan Love is, give him 2 years at $20, $25 million apiece. Give him those to prove it. And then if he balls out and becomes a top 10 quarterback, then you're going to pay him the $50 million a year. That's realistic. That's what you do when you found a quarterback that can be your team's general. But even then, if we were paying $25 a year, right now with Caleb, we're paying $7 this year, almost $8. Paying $9 next year, $11 the year after, and $13 the year after that. And then you got fifth-year option and probably an extension before the fifth-year option hits. Then you're paying him $60 million. But instead of paying 20, 20, 20, 25, 60, 60, 60 to Fields, we're paying 8, 9, 11, 13 for the next 4 years. This team is truly in a window because of these decisions Ryan Poles is making. So do I wish we still had Justin Fields? No, not after what I've seen from Caleb Williams. And I really do think he is super special. I think he's the quarterback that's going to take this team to the next level. All right, now let's transition. Made that transition seamless. We're going to go into the roster now. This is the overreaction roster, so take note of what it is. This is my roster if I were building the 53-man roster today. If cutdowns had to happen, we had one Hall of Fame game. We have what we have as knowledge. This is what I would do if I were the GM of the Chicago Bears. See, at quarterback, we've got Caleb, Tyson Bagent, and Brett Rippon. Yes, I'm keeping all three. You can't let Brett Rippon sit on the practice squad now after what he just did in the Hall of Fame game. 150 NFL passer rating for the game, balling out the way he did, over-the-shoulder throws perfectly, leading his receivers perfectly. He handled this West Coast offense, Shane Waldron offense, perfectly to a T. You cannot let him go now. DJ Moore, Tyler Scott, Keenan Allen, Velus Jones, Romo Dunze, and Colin Johnson are my wide receivers. With Colin Johnson doing what he just did, you've got a legitimate wide receiver 4 to compete with Tyler Scott. I still think Velus Jones is the perfect wide receiver 5/6 to be able to handle kickoff duties. I also, if you see at the bottom, Ian Wheeler is my other return guy. I understand there's players like Dante Pettis, DeAndre Carter, and we did pay DeAndre Carter a significant bonus to be able to come here, guaranteed money. We'd have to lose $1 million to dead cap. There's worse things in the world. I think Ian Wheeler is that guy. We're going to keep 4 running backs regardless, and this is the way I have it. I've gone back and forth. 4 tight ends, or it could be a 5th running back, and then DeAndre Carter could make the team still. I just was not impressed at all with DeAndre Carter in the Hall of Fame game. Colin Johnson was very impressive on both special teams and as a wide receiver, obviously as a wide receiver. And then Brendan Bates played very well, both as a blocker. He was always a good blocker. In college, great blocker. Now in Shane Waldron's offense, these tight ends could be very special. If that didn't show you anything else, between Steven Carlson and Tommy Sweeney and Brendan Bates in the Hall of Fame game, all those tight ends looked like they knew what they were doing. It was clean. It was crisp. Shane Waldron knows how to run his offense with the 13 personnel, 12 personnel with those wide receivers. So I can very much see us running 4 tight ends on this team, and I think Brendan Bates would be the lead right now ahead of Steven Carlson and Tommy Sweeney. So those are my offensive playmakers to be able to make the team right now. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, who you would and wouldn't put in there. Don't tell me Velus Jones is getting cut, because I'm telling you right now he's a firm lock. He's a lock on this team. Maybe the one I'm wrong on is Ian Wheeler, and I very well could be with his injury, but his return ability that I saw from him in college, the tape I made on him, I really think Ian Wheeler's a lock to make this team as well. All right, let's move next to the offensive line, and this is going to be one where I've taken this strictly. You see the people out of practice today, and you see who stepped in for them. I've got right now with Kieran Amagaji missing as much time as he have. I really think this is the avenue the Bears are going to take to be able to explore this line. I think Kieran is going to start on the NFI list. You heard Matt Eberflus talk about how He will come along slowly, and he'll have an opportunity to be the swing tackle by mid-season. I think this is a way of redshirting him is what they're going to do. He's already missed so much time. He's not up to speed. They talk about the best ability is the availability. Well, Kieran Amagaji's in the next 4 years with us at least. So this is going to be kind of a red shirt period for him. He can start on the NFI list and miss 4 games. That gives us the extra spot on the 53-man roster. With that, Braxton, Tevin, Coleman, Nate, and Darnell, I think they're locks to be your starters. What I do see is huge shakeups on your backups. Bill Murray having over 25 snaps in the Hall of Fame game and not allowing a single pressure. Perfect pass block efficiency. Jerome Carvin, he got reps in yesterday with the starters because of all the injuries, and you're hearing really positive things out of camp with him too. Matt Pryor, the same thing, and a lot of experience with him with the Niners and the Colts with his ability to switch between guard and tackle. I think this is the starting 9 that you're going to see to start the season, and then Kieran coming slowly in, missing 4 games because you have to miss 4 games if you start the season on the NFI list. That's the rules. So he'll miss those first 4 games as they designate him on the 53-man cut down. They'll designate him to be on the injured list, on the NFI list. That's where he already is, but as they keep him there. And then I've got Jake Kierhan, Larry Borum, Aviante Collins, Theo Benedict, Terry Carter, and Doug Kramer. Not quite making the grade. And some of those guys you will see picked up by other teams. Larry Borum, Terry Carter, fully believe they would be picked up by other teams. I would hope we could keep Avante Collins and Theo Benedict on the practice squad, but you're going to see us pick up guys from other teams. It's not just our guys that constitute the practice squad. They're scouts for the Bears right now. They're scouting all these other teams. They're going to watch all the tape. They're going to watch all the stuff on the other preseason games. And they're going to have the people they want to pick up as their cut as well. So it won't just be from our guys. But this is how I see the offensive line as it stands right now. And this is very realistic. Obviously, okay, we're gonna do it. Obsessive Connor Williams watch. Obviously, I'd like to see Connor Williams come in and take that starting center role. Push Coleman Shelton back to do the backup. Those 10, and then maybe we'd have to go with 3 tight ends instead of 4 tight ends, or we'd have one less defensive back. They sort those things out as it goes, but we'll probably have another injured lineman to start the season, to be honest. So Connor Williams could start on the injured list, same thing NFI, and miss the first 4 games of the season. But still worth it, in my opinion, if we could go pick up Connor Williams. The news is he passed his physical. It sounded like it came down to money with Seattle. But also there's rumblings that it probably didn't, the GM of the Seahawks said that, yes, he passed the physical, but timeline of when he can get ramped up and when he can play his first game would be the question. That those things aren't clear on a timeline. So that means you might be starting him on the NFI list. So there's the offensive line. We're going to move now to the defensive line and the special teams. So you see right there, I have a few shakeups. Number 1, Byron Cowart, after the game he had, you can't not have him as one of those 4. I had question mark there for a long time. That's where I see Byron Cowart. Zach Pickens, to me, shouldn't be one of the top 4, but with him being a second-year rookie, you don't give up on guys that quick. Eric Washington will work with him. Maybe Dominique Robinson gets more reps inside instead of him. I don't know, but these are the 9 that I have for our defensive ends right now. DeMarcus Walker, Montez Sweat, Austin Booker, Jacob Martin, Dominique Robinson. And then the interior, Andrew Billings, Trevon Dexter, Byron Cowart, and Zach Pickens. A lot of other guys that I like, the potential of them. We'll just have to wait and see what happens to the rest of the. Now, again, these are just overreactions after the first Hall of Fame game. We've got 3 more preseason games. This will adapt, and I'll do this each week. I'll adapt it as we go. And obviously, Torrey Taylor, Cairo Santos, Patrick Scales, Corliss Waitman's the only special teamer left as we cut our other long snapper. Last but not least, we've got this secondary. All right, I did make some changes here. You see, on the linebackers, I've taken Amen Ogbongbemiga out of our top 5 linebackers. I put Carl Jones in there. He had a phenomenal game. He even lined up on the defensive end a couple times. He's a lighter defensive end, 220, 230 pounds. But he was a tackling machine. He led the team in tackling, and he was there for every single play. He's a hustler. He's the epitome of what Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles are looking for. So I've moved Carl Jones up into my top 5 linebackers. You see, I've moved Tavarius Moore back up into the top 4 safeties. Quindale Johnson's definitely down. I have him below Elijah Hicks as well. Elijah Hicks has a lot of upside as well. Really, I just saw more out of Tavarius Moore that I liked in this game than Elijah Hicks, but both of them played very well. I've also moved Jalen Jones out of my cornerbacks and moved Leon Jones up, undrafted free agent. Now, who knows if it's going to end up this way, guys, but these guys, and Reddy Stewart before the game moved up because he's been playing backup nickel to Kyler Gordon, but having all these guys rotate in, and Greg Stroman, Josh Blackwell, Jalen Jones moving down on the charts, while players like Tavarius Moore, Leon Jones, Reddy Stewart, Carl Jones all move up, this is my chart. Okay, this is Adam's chart. So I get this isn't the Bears chart, but this is how I see it after one Hall of Fame game. That to me shows the ability that the Bears have to go out and scout these guys and pick up these undrafted free agents and really focus on the defensive secondary. And we don't even know what we've got from Rotorrance yet. We'll see. Tall but slower, less athletic. We'll see what happens with him as we get into the season, as we get into the preseason. And of course, we know the next preseason game is coming up. Let's get to, here's the upcoming stuff. So we had the Hall of Fame game, check mark, done. Tomorrow, Hard Knocks, episode 1. I'm tuning in. I know everybody else is too. I will have comments about it. I'll get on here and I'll talk about it. But Hard Knocks episode 1 is tomorrow. Then we have the Bears at Bills preseason game on August 10th, this Saturday. That's going to be a Mitch Trubisky game. So it'll be fun to see Mitch Trubisky, see his development, see how he's doing. But also Keon Coleman, it's going to be fun to watch. And the storylines in Buffalo, it's going to be fun to watch the Bears go up there, see how we compete, and see who's actually playing in that game. I do expect the first team to play at least half of the first quarter. I would hope the entire first quarter is my hope, but sometimes I just get unrealistic with my hopes there. But Caleb getting the entire first quarter would be a lot of fun to see what he can do. And then seeing some of these other guys duke it out in battle on the backup roles as well would be a lot of fun, in my opinion. So, shorter Free Talk Tuesday. I just wanted to go over the basics of this team, where the rosters are. Let me know if you guys agree with a lot of these things, because I did make some significant changes. I don't know if everybody's following Reddy Stewart, Leon Jones, Tavarius Moore, Carl Jones. If you're following Byron Cowart and how he did, he had the strip sack. If you're following Jerome Carvin, who is Darnell Wright's teammate from Tennessee in college. So that's a fun storyline there too. Jerome Carvin was an undrafted free agent, played with the Chiefs last year, was on their practice squad, ended up getting cut. We picked him up as a futures contract. Now he's playing very well this offseason for us. So that's kind of a fun storyline to see him and Darnell Wright back together when they were teammates at Tennessee. And then Bill Murray, for those who don't know, he was a defensive tackle at William & Mary, small school, and ended up being an undrafted free agent, tried for a couple years with the Patriots, and then they converted him to an offensive lineman, and he was on the practice squad, and the Bears signed him to a reserve future because of the potential they saw in him, and that defensive mind has the ability to help him block really well. So Bill Murray's storyline is a lot of fun to follow as well. So I'm really interested to see how that works out too. Do you guys think Kieran Amagaji is going to start on the NFI list at this point? This is where I think it's going to be. And then Colin Johnson, I think everybody agrees that he's going to make the roster. But what do you guys think about Ian Wheeler? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment. I want a little interaction on this one. Let me know who you guys think I've got right or wrong on the 53-man roster as it stands right now. We'll see after this next game. This next game is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'll be watching the whole thing Saturday. Have some comments just like last time. If you guys didn't see, after the first quarter, second quarter, I got on, did shorts on YouTube, and then I gave a halftime live. So I'll probably do something similar to that. Let me know what you guys think, though. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. And as always, bear down. Da Bears.